Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me down the back? Yep. Okay, great. A little louder. There we go. All right. Thanks for the invitation to speak today. Delighted to be here. I'm with a program called BioInnovate Ireland. We have a lot of logos in front of us. I'm just going to talk through some of them. We are housed in NUI Galway. We work in collaboration with UL and UCC. Our fellowships are funded by Enterprise Ireland, and the rest of the program is funded by the company sponsors listed underneath. We work in collaboration with Stanford on their biodesign program, and I'll talk a little more about that, and also in collaboration with the Mayo Clinic. So we're focused on needs-led innovation, particularly in the medical device industry, and taking a multidisciplinary approach. So what I want to talk about this morning is the model that we use for that. A couple of quick facts on the medtech sector in Ireland. I think this slide says 7.2 billion in exports. That's now 8.2. 15 of the top 20 medtech manufacturers in the world have plants here in Ireland, and over 25,000 people in the country are employed. Just a snapshot of some of the companies that are based here. So where do we fit in? So BioInnovate was developed 5 years ago based on the Stanford biodesign model, and the goal is to act as a neutral territory between industry, academia, and clinicians where people can come together, collaborate, and develop new innovative ideas for the medtech sector, for basically improving patient outcomes and developing commercial opportunities. So we have a few different activities, the primary of which, or what we were initially set up to do, was to do unmet or undermet clinical needs exploration. So the flagship activity is a fellowship program, which is a 10-month full-time opportunity that I'll primarily talk about today. We also do innovation process training, which is for people currently working in the industry that would like to gain this skill set. And then we've evolved over the last few years into an incubator as well, because as people have come through the program, they've developed technology, secured funding, and so we house them within the institution and help support their growth. So the fellowship program is a 10-month full-time stipend supported by EI program. It's where we bring together multidisciplinary teams. So each team has a clinician, an engineer, a business person, and then a fourth. So that could be any of the above. It could also be someone from law, IT, ICT backgrounds. And they come together and they actually go into the clinic and they observe and try and identify unmet clinical needs. So the whole idea is to map a clinical need to a market opportunity. While they're doing it, there's a very active mentorship from clinicians, from venture capitalists, from people in the industry, entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, and various experts in the different areas. And it's a very active partnership between academia, industry, and clinicians. So you might be asking, well, what's different? It's an innovation program. There are a lot of them out there. We focus on needs-led innovation. So the model was developed at Stanford. We've implemented it for the last 5 years here. And I suppose the key thing is the idea of the identify phase. So the whole idea of this model is find an unmet clinical need, or find a problem, verify the problem. If it's a really good problem and there's a good market for a solution, you will find the solution. So instead of starting with the solution and shoehorning it into a market, start with the problem and then verify that. And if it's a good problem, then go ahead. So the identify phase is one of the unique parts of this program. Our fellows spend 8 weeks in hospitals observing all aspects of patient care, trying to identify unmet clinical needs. And it's not just talking to the physicians and saying, what are your problems? It's also observing what are pain points for them that they may not have thought of. It sort of goes back to the idea, if Henry Ford said, what do you want? We would probably have said a faster horse. So a lot of it is about observing. So the model is a combination of design thinking and entrepreneurship, basically. And the first part, the identify, is the design thinking. So they try and identify unmet clinical needs and then filter those based on what an understanding of the disease state, an analysis of what the market size is like, what the competitor landscape is. So they don't want to progress the technology in an area where there's 30 other startups. And then they go into a more traditional phase of invent, which is brainstorming and concept generation, and then implement, which is planning a commercial output from that. So the idea really is you start with the need and interrogate, is it really a need? So traditionally people start with a concept and go back to whether or not there's a need. And our approach is start with the need. If it's a need, yes, go ahead and generate not just a concept, but multiple concepts. And filter those then based on things like reimbursements, regulatory affairs, which are critical issues in development of medtech. And if it's not a need, then fail fast. So the idea is don't waste your time and someone else's money on something that isn't actually a clinical problem or for which a solution will not be implemented. So the idea is to identify multiple needs, hundreds of them actually, filter those down to a small subset of really good problems for which a solution would be valid. Then when you have that, then go really broad in the concept generation and filter that down based on regulatory affairs, reimbursement, technological capabilities, etc., and develop the final concept. So I suppose a quick snapshot on what creates medical device opportunities, and this isn't from us at BioInnovate, this is from Ross Jaff at Versant. But you're trying to identify like an unmet clinical need, or a new insight into the physiology of a disease, or a new insight into a diagnostic or therapeutic approach, or a tech innovation that improves on an existing approach, or some sort of change in the healthcare delivery system, or a combination of all of the above. So these are the type of opportunities that people on the full-time fellowship are trying to identify. The idea is that by the end of 10 months, they have asked all of the big questions. So it's 10 months to de-risk an idea and de-risk a technology. So at the end of 10 months, they should have a really clear understanding of the technology, what the market is, the regulatory landscape, the reimbursement landscape, what the clinical trial strategy would be, well, who the competition are, and what future funding potentially is. A quick snapshot of why medtechs potentially fail. So no one's willing to pay for it, which is a huge issue, not enough patients, poor clinical adoption plan, and we would call those a bad need. Then perhaps the product doesn't work, there's an unclear regulatory path, or an IP issue, or a reimbursement issue, and we'd say that's a bad concept. So the idea is that you try and avoid all of these pitfalls, and there's a 10-month funded opportunity to do that. Other I suppose, reasons medtechs fail: management, timing, bad luck, that's potentially bad execution, and that it's harder to control for. So the goal for people coming out is that they develop a product that is more effective and ideally lower cost, or more effective, potentially higher cost, but obviously not less effective and more expensive. A quick snapshot of the past few years of activity. So in the first year, 2011, we had 2 teams based in cardiovascular disease. 2012, we had 2 teams, so 8 fellows based in urology and radiation oncology. In 2013, we expanded to 3 teams, 2 in gastroenterology, 1 in orthopedics. And then last year, we had 4 teams in ENT, respiratory medicine, structural heart, and GI. This year, we have 3 in ENT again, cardiothoracics, and dermatology plastics. So the ENT team are in collaboration with the Mayo Clinic, so they actually do half of their clinical immersion out in Rochester. And the cardiothoracic team are in collaboration with St. James's Hospital, and they're housed here in Dublin. A quick snapshot, maybe just to give examples of where some people are. So Chris McBurty was a clinical fellow from our 2012-2013 year. He went ahead to set up a cancer rehab clinic called Strive Clinic. So this is fully focused on a comprehensive interdisciplinary rehab clinic for former cancer patients, and that should be opening in July. Another example is Anglim Medical. So these 3, Liam, Wayne, and Colin, were with us in our first year. They spun out a company called Anglim Medical. So as part of their observation, they were in the cath lab, and they noticed that trying to embolize a vessel can take either multiple coils or multiple plugs and quite a lot of time. And so they thought there has to be a faster, easier way to do this. Went back to the clinicians, they validated that yes, if you could come up with something, that would be wonderful. So they developed a one-shot embolization device. So on the left is a target vessel that they're trying to block, on the right is blocked with a single device in a short time. So they developed what we would call a good unmet need. They're reducing patient time on the table, they're reducing clinician time in the cath lab, they're increasing hospital throughput time. All good, I suppose, outputs for a future device. And they secured over $3 million in investment and spun out last year. Another example is what we call osteoform. So their clinical need is they saw that patients with stomas have problems around either a chemical dermatitis or mechanical dermatitis. And in assessing the market, they realized there was no device out there that was really managing these very effectively. So their solution, which is almost into manufacture at this stage, was very much based on a very strong market and no current technology there to address these needs, and they feel that they're addressing both. I'll quickly comment on our second here, the innovation process training. So we do what we call entrepreneurship. So we have a collaboration with Boston Scientific, where they second a fellow onto the program full time. We also bring in people for a series of workshops throughout the spring on the process. And the idea here is promoting entrepreneurship with it while aligned with the strategic goals of the organization. So we follow two modules on it. One is BioInnovate 1, which is about the design thinking, so the identification phase and really introducing that to people in the industry. And then the second is more about entrepreneurship and how you pitch to align an objective, to align an opportunity with the strategic objectives of the company. So the model that we really have evolved at this stage is we have our fellowship and we have our training workshops, we have our industry partnerships, and we have our incubator activity. We're leveraging grant aid and future entrepreneurs, and then bringing in experience from clinicians, bringing in technology, bringing in investors, and bringing in corporates. And the idea is that we're generating new therapies, new startups, license opportunities, and also a new generation of medtech entrepreneurs. A snapshot of some of the outcomes to date. So 43 fellows are through the program, 12 are currently involved. We have 32 graduate students, over 60 industry professionals. That number is probably low at this stage, probably over 100 hospitals internationally and hundreds of physicians and clinicians. There's a database of over 1,000 unmet or undermet clinical needs. 10 technologies have been developed and have secured up to $5 million in funding. So we have the one spin out, which we talked about, and one license, and then 8 projects that are currently under development. And we're very lucky to have an international network of entrepreneurs, clinicians, and venture capitalists. So just a further snapshot of that. So coming out of the fellowship year on year, here's some of the technology. So the embolization device, I talked about Embo. Lumen On Demand was licensed. We also then bring in technologies through partnering organizations, for example, the Mayo Clinic. So there's a snapshot of what's under development there. Second year, there's 2 technologies developed, one called Kite Medical, the other called Proverum. They're both fundraising at the moment. From the third year, there's another 3 technologies under development. Signum and Osteoform are 2 examples. And then from last year, we have another 6 technologies under development, and another, hopefully, multiple coming out this year as well. We, as the program, we're facilitators. We create the space, we create the network, we create the environment. We're very lucky to have a lot of fantastic contributors, both nationally, and some stunning entrepreneurs and people from the medtech sector, and internationally as well. So we've been very lucky to have those people involved, and they actively mentor the fellows as they go through. We are currently recruiting, so if you know anyone who might be interested in this type of opportunity, please reach out to myself. BioInnovate.ie is the website. What we are doing a little different in the coming years, we have both a medtech focus and an ICT focus team, so that's a slight change in the model for us. These are my contact details. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them or to talk to you afterwards. Thank you.